Dear workplace therapist, how do I handle constant harassment from a coworker? I've reported it to all upper management and beyond. Now I just look like a crazy person. Help. Signed, all I want for Christmas is some peace.
Wow.
So it's interesting when Whitney and I were batting it back and forth because the harassment, like quote unquote harassment, we're unclear as to what kind.
Yes.
So we thought you probably have some ideas if there are different kinds of harassment.
I have got more questions than answers on this one.
Right. So walk us through, like, what are the things that should be taken into consideration, I guess.
So we have to listen, everybody. I want to be real intentional about this. And I'm going to be very direct and blunt. Be really careful when you use things like harassment, bullying, microaggression, discrimination. Those are nuclear bombs. You better have enough data and evidence before you press that button, because those are career damaging bombs. So people throw those out all the time, like, oh, I think this person is annoying me. And they just drop a bomb right there and then create a nuclear war. Be real careful. So let's talk a little bit about harassment. So harassment can take lots of forms. So harassment might just be that this person comes over and greets you every day. I remember, Emily knows the story, when I was earlier in my career and my hair was not quite as white as it is today, a little more darker brown with some gray in it. Every day I'd walk into the office. This was when I worked in an office. And the woman who would sit there in the receptionist desk in a very high-pitched voice would say, "There's Mr. Brandon, looking more and more mature every day." And I did not like that. But every day she said that. Okay. Now, would you call that harassment? I wouldn't necessarily call it harassment. I would call it annoying, but I wouldn't necessarily call it harassment. So one category of harassment might just be annoying. This person doesn't have ill intentions. And that's the key here. Intentions is key. They didn't have ill intentions, but they're doing this kind of annoying thing and it's repetitive. Okay. If that's the case, then you just need to suck it up and have the conversation and say, hey, look, I know you're not trying to have any negative intentions around this, but maybe it's just the mood I'm in on the days I come into work, or maybe I'm just trying to be really focused. But for whatever reason, the way you're approaching me is just making it hard for me to concentrate. Could we make any changes to that? It would mean a lot to me. So just call it out and have that conversation. Okay. So that's one. Now we get into harassment, into more of the real definition of the word. So are they harassing you from a work perspective, or are they now into discrimination categories, whether it's racism, sexism, ageism? You know, those are all protected classes too. So you need to be able to clearly differentiate. So harassment might just be that they are constantly asking you for help with work. Like, hey, can you help me with this, Whitney? Hey, Whitney, I know you're really busy, but I could really use your help on this. Or, hey, Whitney, this isn't right. Why'd you send over this report to my department? You know we like this better. So maybe it's work-related harassment, okay? So, and whereas they're either asking you for help that's not your job, or they're critiquing your job performance in a way that is unprofessional, okay? So this falls in kind of the professional harassment category. In which case, that needs to be a conversation you have with them, but definitely whoever their manager is. Okay. You need to tell their manager and say, the way they're approaching me, and be able to spell it out, is preventing me from doing my best work here. It's impacting my work performance in a negative way. I need to make you aware of it. Okay. And then you also need to tell HR. Okay. So there's that kind of harassment. And then we get into the other categories where it could be ageism, sexism, racism, any of those kinds of categories of harassment. If you're feeling like that is crossing the line, have the conversation with HR and help them kind of discern with you, have they crossed the line? At what point of this is something that they're doing intentionally or unintentionally, and then navigate with HR on how this needs to be addressed. But have HR help you with that, because it's really important that you do report that if you're feeling uncomfortable in it from a protected class standpoint. So I do think that is something that I would want to partner with HR and make them aware of, because remember, HR's job is, yes, to protect employees, but remember their number one job is to protect the company.